Greetings, fellow citizens. As you may have noticed, there are political ads running on TV, there are signs in people's yards, and social media is filled with nothing but respectful dialogue about people's political opinions, right? Well, that's because we've got an election coming up. So let's look at the polls through the lens of science. Polls are a big part of the weeks and months leading up to an election, so we thought we'd take a moment to give you some ideas on things you need to pay attention to while looking at polls. In the past, there have been many elections that didn't turn out as polls predicted. So are polls inaccurate, and why do we keep using them? First of all, let's keep in mind that polls are not accurate. They're just a snapshot of what the general population is thinking leading up to an election. So here are a few things that you should keep in mind when reading polls. Sample size. Size matters, folks. A sample size of 100 will be less likely to be representative of a greater population than a size of, let's say, 30,000 people. The folks at the Gallup US Daily survey 3,500 people weekly, adding up to 175,000 people a year. As the survey continues, these results become more accurate because they represent a larger and larger number of citizens' opinions. The closer you get to reaching everyone, the more accurate your survey will be, and will give you a more complete picture of what the nation is thinking. Narrow scope could be a problem as well. Let's say we're doing an election on what the best tree in America is. If we surveyed a group of people here in Virginia, we may see a large voter turnout for the dogwood, our state tree. However, if we were surveying folks in Montana, they may say the ponderosa pine, their state tree. But neither will accurately depict the nation's opinion on what their favorite tree is simply because the scope of the survey was too narrow. We only interviewed folks from one state. Polling for the unknown is an issue too. Let's say that people are being polled on a topic that they're not very well aware of or informed about. Would their opinions really depict a fair answer of the greater population? If we did a poll on how the next space station should be assembled, but surveyed only folks who don't know anything about assembling space stations, then we're really not getting any true results, are we? Consider how the general public would answer that versus, let's say, NASA engineers. Having an understanding of the polling subject is a pretty important factor here. This and many other polling biases can cause polls to be way inaccurate. To learn more about how Gallup does their thing, check out the link that we've left for you below. All right, and let's not forget about our good friend, margin of error. The lower your margin of error, the closer your poll will be to being an accurate representation of what the general population is thinking. Now, you've probably seen polls that have a 2 or 3 point margin of error. Well, that means those 2 or 3 points can wiggle either direction, and that makes a huge impact on how the election can turn out. For example, let's say we have two candidates that are currently sitting at 49% and 51% with a 3 point margin of error. Well, that means the candidate with 49% can still gain 3 points up or down, meaning their results could end up to 49, 50, 51, and 52, or all the way down to 49, 48, 47, or 46. Meanwhile, the person who's at 51% can also go up and down 3 points respectively. So the election results could be anywhere from 52 to 48, or the other way to 46 to 54. A 3 point margin of error on a close race makes it a virtual tie. Election polling has missed the mark in the past, so keep in mind that it's not a totally accurate process. It's more of an educated guess on what the greater population is thinking. Consider it kind of like a pulse of the nation. It's not a fact. Hey, thank you so much for watching. We've got way more election science for you on our YouTube page, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or drop by smv.org. Remember, you're going to be seeing a lot of polls leading up to this election, so now you have a couple of things to look at to better understand how the process works. Hey, remember, you can't have the politics without the poll. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.